Protection, support, and movement. The next three organ systems that we will review have important roles in protecting us from the outside world and in making locomotion possible. The integumentary system has many tissues that protect the body. The skeletal system includes bones and tissues that are important for supporting, protecting, and moving your body. Muscles are tissues that can contract, enabling movement. Integumentary system. The integumentary system includes the skin, the outer epidermis and the underlying dermis, and hair, nails, claws, sweat glands, and oil glands, which act as a barrier between the body's internal and external environments. It helps maintain homeostasis by regulating the body's temperature and blocking out pathogens. This is the first line of the body's defense. Functions of the integumentary system include protection of internal body structures, body temperature regulation, sensation, vitamin D production, excretion of a limited amount of nitrogenous waste through sweat, and a reservoir for blood. As pictured on the right, sweating is important for body temperature regulation. Integumentary system. Our skin is the most important organ in the integumentary system. It consists of three major regions. The epidermis is the outermost region, the dermis is the middle region, and the hypodermis is the deepest region. Note, soles of the feet and palms of the hands have an extra layer not found anywhere else in the body. The three major regions of the skin, pictured here, epidermis is on top on the surface, dermis is the middle part, and the fatty tissue underneath is the hypodermis. Skeletal system. Functions of the skeletal system include support, locomotion when muscles pull on bones in the limbs, protection of organs, and storage of calcium and phosphate. There are three main types of skeletons. Hydrostatic skeletons, muscles that contract against a water-filled cavity. Exoskeletons, an external skeleton that an animal must shed as it grows, also known as molting. And endoskeletons, internal rigid and metabolically active structures such as bone. Hydroskeletons. Hydroskeletons consist of fluid-filled cavities surrounded by muscles. The muscles contract against the fluid, allowing locomotion. They give the body shape and help protect internal organs. Cnidarians and annelids use hydroskeletons. Exoskeletons. Many animals, such as insects and arthropods, have a rigid external skeleton called an exoskeleton. In some animals, for example arthropods, the exoskeleton must be shed as the animal grows. This is a process called molting, and it is replaced by a larger exoskeleton as the animal grows. In this image, there is a discarded dragonfly nymph exoskeleton. Endoskeletons. Endoskeletons consist of rigid, metabolically active structures surrounding the soft tissues and organs of certain animals. Different types of endoskeletons range from a framework of protein fibers in a sponge to a complete skeleton made up of bones and cartilage in vertebrates. Endoskeletons are particular to all vertebrates. Human skeleton. Our skeleton consists of 206 individual bones and is divided into two regions. The axial skeleton includes the skull, vertebral column, and thorax. It supports the body and protects internal organs. It is pictured on the right, highlighted in blue. The appendicular skeleton includes the upper and lower limbs and their respective girdles, which attach to the axial skeleton. It is responsible for most of the body's movements. It is pictured on the right, highlighted in red. Structure of the bone. Bones contain compact tissue, spongy tissue, and bone marrow. Compact tissue is the hard surface layer of bone. Spongy tissue is the less dense inner tissue of a bone. Spongy tissue is made of small pieces of bone called trabeculae and has a central core of bone marrow. Bone marrow is the tissue that fills the spongy tissue inside of bones. Bone marrow is where blood cells are made. In this diagram, we see the compact bone, which is hard, on the outer layer, spongy bone on the inside. Notice its porous, resembles a sponge, and it's in the spongy tissue where we see the bone marrow, where the red blood cells are made as well as the white blood cells, all blood cells really, and the cartilage that surrounds the ends of the bone. Muscular system. The muscular system is composed of skeletal, smooth, and cardiac muscle. Functions of the muscular system include body movement, maintaining posture, circulating blood, generating heat, and stabilizing joints. The contraction of muscles allows us to move. Types of muscle. There are 3 types of muscle. The first is skeletal muscle. That's the muscle that moves your body, muscles in your arms, legs, shoulders, and back. It's called skeletal muscle because this muscle usually attaches to bones of the skeleton. Smooth muscle is in your intestinal walls. It moves food through your stomach and intestines. And cardiac muscle is in the heart. It provides the pumping strength for the heart. Movement of the human skeleton. The skeletal system and the muscular system work together as the musculoskeletal system to move the human skeleton. Much of the versatility in movement of our skeleton comes from the various types of articulations, which are joints between 2 or more bones. Bones serve as attachment points for muscles via their tendons. Bones of movable joints are held together by ligaments. Muscles and bones interact in movement. In this diagram, there is a tendon, pictured here, which attaches the patella, or the kneecap, to the quadricep muscles. And down here there is a ligament, the patellar ligament, that attaches the kneecap to the tibia, or the shin bone of the lower leg. Muscle structure. Muscles are made of muscle fibers, and muscle fibers are made of myofibrils. Muscle fibers can be up to several inches long. A myofibril is a thread-like part inside the muscle cells that can stretch like a rubber band. In this diagram, we see an image of a muscle, or image representing a muscle, and that is subdivided into bundles of muscle fibers. And then each bundle is made up of single muscle fibers, or a single muscle cell, and then within the muscle cell there are proteins that come together to make myofibrils, long cylindrical structures of these proteins that are able to actually contract and then cause the whole muscle to contract. Muscle movement. The various types of muscles contract when the nervous system stimulates muscle filaments to move. The nervous system, via impulses in the motor neurons, causes calcium to enter the sarcomere, the basic unit of contraction in a muscle fiber. This allows the filaments of a protein called myosin to bind to another protein called actin. The muscle contracts when the myosin filaments pull the actin towards the sarcomere's center. In this diagram we see the myosin, or the thick filament, in the center, and the actin are the thin protein filaments, the 4 that are on the outside of the myosin, and these myosin heads are able to bind onto that actin and pull it towards the center.